Robin has now resigned, paving the way for a by-election. So, of course, Cabinet having attended that special sitting, Cabinet members having attended that special sitting, met on Thursday. So here we are on a Friday morning for the post-Cabinet media briefing. As usual, here is Maurice Merchant, Director General for Communications in the Prime Minister's office, to unveil some of what was discussed and what was agreed to as the nation's executive met. Good morning to you, Maurice.
Good morning to you, Garfield, and good morning to our listeners. Good morning to yourself and Alicia, assembled here this morning at our media room. Also to our journalists who are watching via ABS television. Special good morning to Zoe. Zoe has indicated she's on sabbatical, and so we'll be missing her for a short period, and we look forward to having Zoe back very soon. As Garfield indicated, Thursday was this week's cabinet sitting or meeting, and as usual, the cabinet commenced its meeting with a prayer from a visiting pastor. This pastor came from the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and his meditation and prayer was focused on Jeremiah 29, verse 11. The pastor reflected on that chapter or that verse in the Bible, reminding the cabinet that God declares He knows the plans He has for His people, plans to prosper them, not to harm them, and to give them hope and a future. He said that his promise was reassurance that even in challenging times, God's purposes remain steady and secure. He stated that the members of the cabinet were not in their positions by accident or mere human decision, but they had been chosen by God and entrusted with a divine appointment. He emphasized that leadership carries both privilege and responsibility, and that those called to serve must do so with humility, integrity, and a deep awareness of their accountability to God and to the people. He gave thanks to God for each member, acknowledging the sacrifices they and their families make in service to the nation of Antigua and Barbuda. He prayed that God will cover them and their households with His grace, protection, and peace, and he asked that they be granted wisdom beyond their own understanding, courage in moments of difficulty, and unity of purpose as they deliberate on matters affecting the nation. The cabinet was convened as its weekly session on Thursday, as we indicated, and it was jointly chaired by Prime Minister the Honorable Gaston Brown and Attorney General Sir Stedroy Cutie Benjamin, as the Prime Minister had multiple engagements throughout the day, so he was in for a period and left and then returned and then left again for those engagements. Sir Stedroy opened the session by outlining the process leading up to the by-election in the St. Philip's North constituency, which is scheduled for March 16. The by-election, of course, follows the retirement from active politics of Sir Robin Yearwood, who celebrated 50 years of service in the Parliament of Antigua and Barbuda last Wednesday. The Attorney General informed the Cabinet that the writ for elections has been officially issued by the Governor General, Sir Rodney Williams, following communication from the Prime Minister. The writ has been published in the Antigua and Barbuda Gazette, formally commencing the election process and nomination day, when parties will put forward their respective candidates for that by-election, will be on the 25th of February. Attorney General Benjamin emphasized that the Labour Party machinery will be fully mobilized to ensure the party and the government retains the St. Philip's North constituency, which it has represented continuously since 1976. He also noted that former campaign officer for Sir Robin and former customs official Randy Baltimore has resigned from public service to actively participate in the upcoming election on behalf of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party. The cabinet expressed its full support for the election process and underscored the importance of continued democratic engagement in Antigua and Barbuda. The Honorable Darrell Matthew, who is the Minister for Education, announced to Cabinet on Thursday that the government, All Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC examination fees, that's CSEC and CAPE, for students preparing to fire division. As part of this decision, 5 of those newly recruited fire officers will be stationed on the sister island of Barbuda, while the remaining 15 will be deployed across various fire stations throughout Antigua. This strategic distribution is intended to strengthen fire and emergency response coverage across both Antigua and Barbuda. The initiative represents a significant investment in national safety and resilience. The recruitment and training of additional fire officers will also enhance that division's operational capacity, reduce response times to emergencies, and improve overall public safety. It will also ensure that Barbuda benefits from a dedicated and strengthened fire service presence, particularly important in light of the island's unique geographical and emergency response needs, and also the recent developments happening there on Barbuda. Additionally, the decision creates meaningful employment opportunities for our citizens, contributing to workforce deployment and skills training in the area of emergency services. The Cabinet now has given its full backing to a new tourism development called Reset Wellness Antigua. It's a next generation project which is designed to advance the diversification, sustainability, and high value visitor engagement of the nation's tourism sector. The project, presented to Cabinet by its principals, is founded on a simple principle, and that is to expand Antigua's global tourism offerings beyond traditional leisure travel by establishing a wellness-focused destination that will attract longer stays, higher spending visitors, while maintaining low-density development and environmental responsibility. Reset Wellness Antigua is located at Harmony Hall at Browns Bay Mill in Freetown, near Nonsuch Bay and Browns Bay Beach. Now, during the construction phase, the project is expected to generate between 150 to 200 direct jobs, with over 90% of the workforce drawn from local labor. And Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who was in Cabinet at that time for that presentation, commended the principals for taking this direction in terms of the project by utilizing a large Antiguan and Barbudan workforce. Local trades, including civil works, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, landscaping, and finishing services will be engaged, supporting skills development and also economic participation. Once operational, which is anticipated within 24 months, and work has already commenced with the clearing of the area, the project will create an estimated 80 to 120 long-term positions, including wellness practitioners, specialized service providers, culinary staff, maintenance personnel, and administrative roles. This project, expected to be a green project, will incorporate solar energy integration, passive cooling architectural design, green roof systems, native plant reintroduction, stormwater management, and reduce visual impact through terrain-sensitive design. The first phase will utilize 5 of the 12 acres of the property, with approximately 172 units included under the Antigua and Barbuda Investment Authority program. The consortium now, which includes local partners, is projected to invest over 40 million US dollars during this first phase. The cabinet has pledged its support for the project, including concessions outlined under the Citizen by Investment legislation, affirming its commitment to fostering high quality, sustainable tourism developments that contribute to the economy, also create jobs and enhance Antigua and Barbuda's international tourism appeal. The Cabinet of Antigua and Barbuda received a presentation from the General Manager and also the Waste Management Manager of the National Solid Waste Management Authority regarding a recent environmental incident at Hanson's Bay near the Cook's landfill. On Thursday, the 12th of February, and it has been in the media, ABS has reported extensively on this matter. The Antigua and Barbuda Defense Force Coast Guard received a report from the pilot station at the Antigua and Barbuda Port Authority in St. John's of an oil sheen in the waters there at Hanson Bay, extending towards Pelican Point. The authority was immediately alerted and surveillance of the area was conducted, and this is in collaboration with the National Office of Disaster Services and the Central Board of Health. Investigations revealed that the recent rainfall of some 2 inches, combined with full capacity sewage ponds and a king tide event, resulted in landfill leachate overflowing into the mangrove. As the tide receded, leachate flowed into Five Islands Harbor, causing environmental concern. It must be noted that daily waste at the Cook's landfill includes some 6 tons of solid waste, some 30,000 gallons of sewage, and some 1,500 tires per day. And so, with the recent rainfall, the capacity of the various landfills there at Cook's overflowed, and the leachate, which is the byproducts from the sewage and the garbage and so forth, overflowed its normal storage area and found its way into the harbor. The Solid Waste Authority, they addressed the problem by first putting out advisories to the public to advise them that no food from that area, fish or any products from the sea in that area should be consumed at this time, and this while they carry out further examination, further testing, inspection of the leachate collection and treatment system to identify potential failure points, and the deployment of real-time sensors for continuous monitoring to support long-term ecological assessments. To strengthen the authorities' efforts not only to combat situations like this one, Cabinet approved the acquisition and deployment of additional equipment, including 2 bulldozers, an additional excavator, a motor grader, a vibrator compactor, or what is known as a roller, and a landfill compactor. It must be noted that the Cook's landfill is the only official dump site for waste in Antigua. And so from the daily intake of items of waste and sewage and other items, you would note that it is very close to its capacity, and hence the authority is looking at ways of ensuring that it manages the site in order for it to continue to serve Antigua and Barbuda. And the cabinet says that it is committed to environmental protection and sustainable waste management, and urged all relevant agencies to maintain close collaboration to prevent future incidents and safeguard Antigua and Barbuda's coastal and marine environs. The cabinet approved a recommendation from the Honorable Attorney General and the Minister responsible for the police to acquire 4 additional dogs for the Royal Police Force of Antigua and Barbuda Canine Unit. The new additions to the unit will include 2 firearm detection dogs, 1 narcotics detection dog, 1 explosives detection dog, along with comprehensive training for both dogs and handlers. This will expand the unit to a total of 15 dogs, significantly enhancing the force's operational capabilities. The cabinet highlighted that the additions will bolster crime-fighting capacity across Antigua and Barbuda, providing critical support in detecting firearms, explosives, and illicit substances. The enhanced K9 unit will improve public safety, strengthen law enforcement response, and serve as a deterrent to criminal activity. The cabinet has taken note of a number of Antiguan and Barbudan doctors who are due to complete their specialization studies in the coming months, further strengthening the nation's healthcare delivery capacity. Cabinet commended the achievements of medical specialist Dr. Jessica Charles, who is specialized in ENT, Dr. Cameron Knowles, who will be specialized in dermatology, Dr. Ariel Aaron, she will be specialized in gastroenterology, Dr. Adrian Cole Byers, cardiology, and Dr. Michelle James, orthopedic and traumatology. These doctors pursued and are pursuing their advanced studies in the Republic of Cuba under the long-standing two-nation medical partnership, gaining expertise that will significantly enhance the healthcare delivery services in Antigua and Barbuda. And in recognition of Dr. Jessica Charles' specialization, she has returned. The others are completing their studies and should graduate by the end of this year, and others early next year. But in recognition of Dr. Charles' specialization, who has returned and is at the Celesta Bird Medical Center, Cabinet approved a build-out of the ENT unit there at the Celesta Bird Medical Center, ensuring that patients have access to modern and comprehensive ear, nose, and throat care. The arrival of these specialists, once all have completed their studies, is expected to improve the nation's healthcare delivery in multiple ways, enhancing access to specialized services, reducing the need for overseas referrals, supporting early diagnosis and treatment of complex conditions, and strengthening the capacity of Antigua and Barbuda's public health institutions to provide high quality care for our people. Cabinet reaffirmed its commitment to investing in, or to continue to invest in the nation's healthcare workforce and infrastructure, ensuring that Antigua and Barbuda continues to offer advanced and accessible medical services for its population. So those are some of the items that were on the agenda at Cabinet meeting yesterday, Thursday, and those are some of the decisions that were also taken.
Many thanks, Maurice. Maurice Merchant is Director General for Communications in the Prime Minister's Office, providing us with a summary of some of the points discussed yesterday. My colleague Alicia George is here with us. Alicia is Senior Reporter and Producer at ABS Television Radio, the national broadcaster. Over to Alicia for her questions. Good morning, Alicia.
Hi, good morning. I just have a few questions. On point 2 of the notes regarding the full payment of CXC examination fees, do we have the total cost of those fees?
Not at this moment. The cost was mentioned, but unfortunately, I did not pay close attention to that, which is an important aspect. But I can guarantee you, I'll have it for you before we conclude this morning's briefing.
No, I expect that these fees are probably close to $1 million, probably more. Over $1 million.
Yes,
okay. How does the government plan to recoup this cost long term?
Government does not plan to recoup the cost. Government is utilizing its resources to invest in the education of its young people. And so it's not a matter of trying to recoup the funds, but it has made a policy decision that the education of our young people, and also to provide relief to parents. If you are within the system and you have a child who has reached that stage of of his or her educational development, you would know that some parents would have had to save for months to meet those fees, and for some parents, particularly single parents, it has been a challenge. And there are some parents who have exceptional children who don't take the traditional 8 or 9 subjects. They are taking 20 subjects plus these days, and it comes at a considerable cost. And so government, as a policy decision, decided it will invest in our young people, because the young people are our future, and also at the same time providing relief to the people who elected the government to serve.
And is this policy across the board, or is it only for nationals of Antigua and Barbuda?
All students in Antigua and Barbuda.
Okay. I want to switch to point 5 of the notes, where I think I have my most questions. And that's in relation to the contaminant spill from the landfill. I just want to give context before I ask this first question. The wetland that is being referred to here in the notes is the Hanson Bay Flashes. It's the wetland where Antigua has its largest watershed, leading all the way to Big Creek, and it's also the site of Antigua's largest mangrove woodland, and where the West Indian whistling duck, a threatened species, can be found. How wide is the prohibited area in that case?
I cannot say to you that that was discussed. From aerial photos that were presented to the cabinet, it was not a significantly large area, but it is an area of concern to the authorities. And that's why they would have immediately moved to address the issue to mitigate the continuous flow of contaminants into that area, and also to prevent the spread of contaminants throughout the entire area that you refer to.
Now, I've visited the landfill and I've seen the area being referenced, and there is a very large deposit of oil. Obviously, I can't say what oil, but from the smell, you can tell it's oil. And it's really just bordering the mangrove coastline. Is there a disposal waste mechanism, just in general, in Antigua and Barbuda?
They have a system at the Cook's landfill, but there is need for more modern equipment there to manage waste oil disposal. Um, it is not a significant disposal site for waste because previously there is or was a company that will utilize the majority of waste oil in Antigua and Barbuda to generate new products. And so hence the disposal of waste oil. But what we are seeing there at the mangrove, it's not purely waste oil. The authorities call it leachate, and that is byproducts of all of the
Waste.
the waste there, which has been stored in a particular area, which overflowed due to that increased rainfall. Its capacity was just overwhelmed by those 2 inches of rain, and 2 inches of rain is a lot of rain, and hence the leachate overflowed into the environs there, which created the problem.
Now, I note that Cabinet met with the General Manager of National Solid Waste. Was the Department of Environment present at all?
No, but the National Solid Waste Management Authority would have coordinated with all of the various agencies that would have responsibility for such situation. The National Office of Disaster Services, the Central Board of Health, and of course the Department of the Environment. All of these individuals were a part. Also, the Ministry of Social Transformation was also involved in discussing this matter because it's all part of the development of Antigua and Barbuda that division has responsibility for.
Now, during the last press conference at NODS, the analytical services did recommend long-term monitoring of the area. Do you have any idea if that would include water testing, since it is in a
Yes.
watershed?
And you would have noticed that in the notes itself, that's part of the continuous treatment or continuous action of solid waste to monitor and to test, to then lift its advisory that it has placed on the area that no fishing, no consuming of products from that area should take place at this time.
No, the landfill, and it has been said by the General Manager of Solid Waste herself, is past its usable time. What is the government proposing at this time? Are we going to see a new landfill anytime soon?
That is actively being pursued on ways to improve, to ensure that the capacity of the landfill is improved to utilize the area for the disposal of waste. The introduction of new technology is one being considered. The manager would have made several recommendations there for improvement with new dams to be constructed for the disposal of waste, and so Cabinet is looking at that. Also, a new sewage plant in that area, waste oil plant. Those are 2 areas that Cabinet is actively looking at, 2 new developments there at the landfill, and Cabinet is prepared to invest in these items to address the current situation there.
My next question, I'm not sure if this was discussed in cabinet, but it is something that happened yesterday at the Antigua distillery. There was oil spilling. I'm not sure what degree because it was kind of meshed with what I believe is molasses in the area. They were refilling a tank, as I understand, and it would have caused the spill. Are there any actions being taken there?
The matter was not discussed, and I'm sure that the authorities were on that case, and information will be released to the public very soon.
Does the cabinet generally have any concern, or I should say, what is its major concern when it comes to issues like this?
The environment, as you know, is a major topic for the Gaston Brown administration. The Prime Minister has been throughout the world speaking on environmental matters, and so it is a significant aspect of the Gaston Brown administration's development of Antigua and Barbuda that the environment is protected. You know of the various campaigns to clean up the state, to plant trees, to encourage backyard gardening, and for farmers to produce more. All these are part of the government's environmental protection thrust. We spoke of the new secure areas for the development of protected areas in Antigua and Barbuda. All these are part of the Gaston Brown administration's drive towards protecting the environment, and so the government is very big on this issue.
And just lastly for me, the prohibition at the Cook's landfill area, Hanson's Bay area, the EMPA was enforced. Has that ever happened before?
Not that I can recall in recent times, but I am sure because there have been spillage before. I think in that area, and has been dealt with, but it can be researched and verified.
Thank you.
Thank you as well, Alicia. Alicia George is senior reporter, producer at ABS Television Radio. Maurice, on the same matter of point 5, same environmental issues, the cabinet receiving a presentation from the general manager and the waste management manager of the NSWMA regarding that spill. Let's look at the landfill management broadly. Did they talk about how to use these tires? For example, you mentioned on a daily basis you have 1,500 tires being sent to the landfill, which is extraordinary. I mean, just multiplying that by 365 for the year, it gives you an extraordinary number. At one point, there was discussion about utilizing these tires to aid in road construction as part of a road construction, an innovative way of road construction, which is happening in other countries as well. Was that discussed in terms of how to get rid of these tires or to utilize them better?
A few months ago, or probably over a year ago, the government would have received special machinery to deal with the issue of tires. I think that machinery was in Barbuda, and also there is a management of tires program that is enforced there at the Cook's landfill, and so they have been managing that aspect quite effectively. Is there more that needs to be done? Yes. Is there the need for more modern technology to address the problem? Yes, because 1,500 tires on a daily basis, at some point, it's going to be unsustainable.
I suppose some individuals argue that it is already unsustainable, and it is certainly a fire risk as well, especially if it's not managed properly. On point 3 on the notes, sorry, even before going to that, so there was the matter of, possibly the use of used tires in road construction. On that matter, there is another innovative technology that is supposed to be trialed on the roadway, which is the Burning Flames Highway. Is that still on the cards? I mean, how far advanced is that in terms of
Can you
utilizing?
repeat the last aspect?
Sure,
of
sure.
it?
There was supposed to be an innovative road technology that was supposed to be used on the Burning Flames Highway or Herbert's Road. How far advanced is that, and is that still to be trialed?
Yes, currently contracts are being negotiated within the Ministry of Works, and so very shortly it anticipates that these contracts will be signed, and so yes, that technology is still expected to be utilized on that highway.
Right. Just going back to the tires matter, Maurice, and utilizing them. I mean, 1,500 tires in the landfill. It's just a remarkable number. While you've indicated here, and it's all what are the regulations surrounding the management of these tires? Is there any regulation at all that the NSWMA goes by?
There are regulations governing waste in general, and tires will fall into that. You obviously can't indiscriminately dump tires anywhere in Antigua and Barbuda, and that's why they have to be collected and sent to the landfill for storage and proper disposal. I am not familiar with the particular laws that govern the disposal, or if there is any that specifically address tires, but again, research.
We'll come back to a few other matters in relation to tires, and a broad point about waste management. Final point of this one, Maurice. Did they discuss, and did the cabinet discuss with these officials of the NSWMA waste to energy? Because that is talking about sustainability. Biomass is a huge discussion in other countries as well. Is this, how far advanced? Because this discussion has been had sometime in the past. How far advanced are those discussions, and how close are we to that?
As mentioned earlier, Cabinet is looking at new and modern technology to address the disposal of waste, and so how to utilize these technologies has been addressed in recent times, and how the government can invest in these technologies are also being addressed. But as you know, matters of this nature are very costly, and so it's a process, and government has it in its sight to introduce these modern technologies to benefit the environment first and foremost.
Thanks for that. On point 3, Maurice, the cabinet approving a proposal brought by the Attorney General and Public Safety Minister for the training and employment of 20 new fire officers for the fire division. It struck me that there's a discussion for the demarcation or the separation of the fire service from the police force. Was that discussed, and is this still a priority for the government?
It is a priority for the government. Legislation would have been passed. Administratively, it's a work in progress. So hence these officers will be trained the traditional route and then incorporated into the fire service.
Yeah. Recently, probably about early last month, while at the Barnacle Point, the official opening of the Barnacle Point reverse osmosis plant, I spoke with Minister Fernandez, who is Civil Aviation Minister, and he said at that time that the government was in talks with a new FBO operator, fixed base operator, to possibly have that operator engaged in Antigua Barbuda. Any further discussions since then on that? He wasn't able to disclose the name of that fixed base operator at that point, because perhaps because of non-disclosure agreements. But has there been any further discussion on this?
There have been further discussions, but as the discussions continue, the government believes that it will be premature to disclose who these principals are until everything has been finalized. Then following that, the public will be made aware.
A final question, Maurice. Since we mentioned we're talking about the doctors here and certainly they are very welcome, especially the ones who are specialists in these. I mean, all these are specialists, so that's very good. What of the discussions about Antigua and Barbudan students in Cuba, given the very fraught situation in Cuba now with the energy crisis there, because the the Trump administration has taken a far more truculent approach to Cuba. Is the government looking at having those students come back or providing some assistance to come back because of that situation? Because some of the classes have been disrupted as a result of the energy situation.
The cabinet was briefed on the matter of the current situation of our students in the Republic of Cuba. We have been monitoring the situation. We have been in contact with our students. The Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, E.P. Chet Green, reported to Cabinet that the students have indicated that they are at this point prepared to continue their studies in the Republic of Cuba to conclusion. The efforts to monitor the situation there in Cuba is not on the basis of country to country. It is a coordinated effort in terms of monitoring the situation there in Cuba. The CARICOM, the diplomatic corps there, as recently as the 17th, which is a few days ago, held a meeting to address the issue, the ambassador corps, and to advise their capitals on the situation. Various contingency planning, emergency responses, and safety documents would have been produced for all of the students in Cuba affiliated with countries within the region, including Antigua and Barbuda, have been produced. And so there are plans for various scenarios to ensure of the safety of our students and also to ensure that they continue to enjoy the good will of the Cuban people, and also to continue their education, which is foremost. So it's a situation that is being monitored in terms of looking for alternatives in the event that situation gets worse. The government is prepared to provide the assistance that will be needed to our students if that situation does arise. And so it is in close coordination and collaboration with other countries within the region who have students in the Republic of Cuba.
Just as a corollary point, Maurice, on the matter of Cuba, recently the Prime Minister would have indicated that, or Prime Minister indicated that he was expecting that a CARICOM statement would have been forthcoming. Perhaps he had said at the point, perhaps within the next day or two. We have not yet seen a CARICOM statement on that. Was it discussed at all at Cabinet yesterday? The fact that CARICOM doesn't seem to be able to find a consensus on it. I suspect why that's the case, because governments across the region have different perspectives in relation to how to deal with the U.S. government on its foreign policy in the Americas. But did Cabinet discuss this at all? And is it a source of frustration for the government that CARICOM hasn't yet issued a statement on this?
It was not a matter that is discussed. However, Antigua and Barbuda continue to use its diplomatic channels to collaborate and to ensure that the good relations that exist not only with the United States is also extended to all of our diplomatic partners, including the Republic of Cuba. And while the matter was not discussed, it is ongoing interaction that ensures that the relations continue between all of our diplomatic partners.
Listen, finally, but here's one last one, Maurice. Did Cabinet review the country's hosting, which happened, actually ended on Wednesday of this week, of the first plenary session of the Caribbean EU Parliamentary Assembly? Of course, that saw lawmakers from the European Parliament and CARIFORUM meeting here in Antigua Barbuda to discuss matters of common interest and concern across their both regions. Did Cabinet look at how the country did in hosting that event?
That matter, with an extensive report, is expected to be presented at the next sitting of Cabinet. And so the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which had a large involvement with the organization of that conference, will present a report to Cabinet next week.
Excellent. Maurice, those are the questions this morning. Back over to you for your final comments.
Cabinet did go, its session did go into the evening yesterday. Cabinet's attention was brought to a very serious matter. The Passport Office has reported a very serious and concerning development, a significant increase in the number of lost passports being reported in recent years. The trend poses serious national security, administrative and financial challenges, and has prompted immediate action by the office. Just to give you statistics in this matter and how serious it is for the Passport Office and, of course, the government. So far for the year, we are in February, there have been reports of 73 lost passports. Last year, 2025, there was reports of 440 lost passports. In 2024, there was a report of 360 lost passports. And so this is of significant concern to the Passport Office. And so first and foremost, they are launching a campaign, and it's to sensitize the public to the critical importance of properly securing their travel documents. The campaign focuses on the security risks associated with losing your passports, the potential for identity theft and fraudulent use, the financial and administrative burden placed on the state, best practices for safeguarding passports at home and while traveling, and the importance of responsible document management. The Passport Office is of the opinion that people are just being careless with their travel documents. One reason for this is the easy means of getting a new passport if you have reported it lost. $200 to get a new passport if you have reported your passport lost. And so the Passport Office will be presenting a proposal to the Cabinet next week to deal with this, this concerning trend of lost passports and lost documents, and sensitizing people, of course. Secure your documents. They are important to you. And as I mentioned, it is of a burden to them financially. And so these folks at the Passport Office have expressed their concern to the Cabinet. They are going to present several proposals for the Cabinet to consider to deal with the issue. Maybe one proposal may be to increase the fees from $200, then persons will pay more attention to securing the documents. Even though the process of getting a new passport after one being lost is you report it to the police do their investigations, the immigration division gets involved in doing the search to ascertain whether or not the passport is being utilized. The passport office goes through the process of canceling the passport within the system to ensure that it is not being used, but it is still a problem. 70 lost passports so far for the year is just too many, and it's of a concern to them. Passports for the government, purchasing passports for the government is of a grave, is at high cost. They do not come cheap, even though government is consuming most of the costs associated with the production of our national passports. And so, as I mentioned, one aspect to deal with the problem that they may suggest is increasing the fees for passports. Another aspect is increasing the period whereby you can apply for a new passport outside of emergency cases. For a new passport, and emergency cases does not mean that you need to go on vacation. And so those are some of the matters that will be discussed in relation to this issue. And in the meantime, the passport office is urging the citizens to treat the safeguarding of their passports as a matter of national responsibility. And note, these figures are lost passports. They are not stolen passports. They have they have figures affiliated with stolen passports, and that figure is pretty small. And so the concern to them is the lost passports. I went to the supermarket and it must have dropped out of my bag and I don't know where it is. My child must have taken it up. Some of the excuse that they're having. And so the careless handling or repeated loss of passport not only affects individuals, but may have broader implications for border security and the international standing of the country's travel document. And so the matter will be discussed at Cabinet next week, and in the meantime, safeguard your travel documents. So that's it for me, Garfield. It has been a wonderful day. It promises to be a great weekend of relaxation and enjoying some of the gastronomical delights that Antigua and Barbuda is known for on the weekend, including that famous Antiguan rice pudding. And so weekend looks really great, Garfield. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and thank you for listening.
There's no doubt that Maurice is looking forward eagerly with bated breath to the weekend. Thank you so much, Maurice. Maurice Merchant is Director General for Communications in the Prime Minister's Office. Let me also thank Alicia George, Senior Reporter Producer at ABS Television Radio. We thank our technical team here, Colin Armstrong, and our Director of Technical Services, Trevor Parker, with us today. Let me also thank our colleagues back at the base at ABS Television, to whom we're turning you back over now with our thanks for joining us, whatever the platform you used to join us, whether radio, television, or our online platform. Very good morning from the Parliament Building. Back over to the studios of ABS. Bye-bye.